like the ocean, love you in slow motion. Anything it takes to make you stay. But I can't rely on you. Doesn't matter what I do. You say you need a time, I think you mean a buyout. Cause it's pretty clear you're on your way out. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face, you're sorry. And I quit my job for you, even quit some friends for you. Cause you couldn't stand it, me all independent, so you had to have me for yourself. That was when I trusted you, when I could add up 2 and 2. When you promised we'd be together, you, me, forever. Now there's nothing left to lose. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face, you're sorry. This time I think I get it. This love was overrated. No more infatuated. And I blame it on you, I blame it on you, yeah. This time I hope you get it. In love you shouldn't fake it, no. I'm old enough to take it. So just say it to me, say it to me. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry. will change the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you wear your hair. Change the way you dress, the way you kiss, everything, 'cause you are scared that I might leave you. Well, why should I leave you? Baby, please don't talk to me that way. Don't talk to me that way. 'Cause I think you're perfect for me, just the way you are. And I don't ever want to leave you. Baby, don't you talk to me that way. Yeah, and I'm sorry if I sound a little harsh, but I don't know how to get through to you. Because you don't seem to know that you are everything a girl could dream of. Baby, won't you hear me? Don't talk to me that way. 'Cause I think you're perfect for me, just the way you are. And I don't ever want to leave you. Baby, won't you hear me when I say, don't talk to me that way. 'Cause I think you're perfect for me, just the way you are. And I don't ever want to leave you. Baby, don't you talk to me that way. What a night, people dancing in slow motion, blurry eyes. But I've had enough, it's time to say goodbye. 3 a.m. as I'm walking home with a smile. Smoky moon a shiver, all the shadows fade away. All your streets are empty lights begin to sway. 4 a.m. as I think, oh, Stockholm love. Sometimes I picture how life had been in Paris or New York or Shanghai. But you know what they say, east or west, our home is best. Warming rays, golden sunlight as the city wakes. Oh, my love for you will never fade away. 5 a.m. as I sing, oh, Stockholm love. Stockholm love. Sometimes I picture how life had been in Paris or New York or Shanghai. But you know what they say, east or west, our home is best. Warming rays, golden sunlight as the city wakes. Oh, my love for you will never fade away. 5 a.m. as I sing, oh, Stockholm love. Stockholm love.
So casually keep diving into concrete. So bittersweet. Huh? Keep losing sleep while driving in the backseat.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy J Red Unfiltered, and we are back with another show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Just want to say that I appreciate everybody, like everybody that is tuned in now, everybody that will be tuned in. I appreciate you. You could be doing anything in the world. You could be watching anybody. You could be doing anything, but you're here, and for that, I appreciate you. Now, just let's gotta lay a little bit of the groundwork. So just so you know, what I'm trying to do here is I want to facilitate conversation, right? That is my goal. My goal is never to definitively sway you in one way or the other. What I'm trying to do is to try to spark conversations and debates which people can then go and basically use to have conversation that can create a ripple in this matrix that we're living in, because that's the only resistance that we can have. We can't change the world. Just one person can't just change the world. But when we have conversations and when we challenge this narrative, that's essentially what it is. What essentially my goal is to be one of the people that are basically fighting in I guess reverse. It's like a reverse culture war. It's a cultural thing, and the only way to really combat what I believe to be a trash culture that the black community has chosen to embrace or has chosen to allow the black culture to develop in is to counterculture it. We have to counterculture. We have to create counterculture. And that is by having conversations. And sometimes those conversations involve looking at the negatives of things. See, I understand that the black community has good points. Nobody has ever just denied that there aren't positive aspects of the black community. But what we have to acknowledge is that the bad is bad enough that it's worth addressing. So just because someone doesn't take the time to sit there and say, okay, well, this is good and this is bad, this is good, this is bad. No, we're going to focus on the bad, because the bad is so bad that it can end up, it basically creates a cancerous effect for everything else. I always use the analogy, the cake analogy, right? The cake analogy is there's this baker, and you go to the baker. When you go to the baker, you go to this baker because he's known to have the best tasting cake in the world. This best tasting cake. This is moist. It's soft. It tastes good. The perfect ratio of flavor. It's the perfect cake, right? Let's just say, for example, that that's the black community, right? But when this baker that you've traveled however far in order to get this cake, because you know that he gives you the best cake. But then the baker serves the cake on a plate that's surrounded by feces. Nothing but feces on that plate, right? Well, what's the feces? The feces is black culture. The feces is the culture. Let's just say that the black community is without flaw, which we know is not. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that it's without flaw. But the culture around it is so trash. Are you still going to eat this cake? Most people know that they're not going to eat the cake. They're not going to eat the cake. They're not going to just eat that cake no matter how good it is. They know that they're not going to eat the cake because guess what? They don't want to eat shit. Excuse my French. But my question is, why is it so different with the black community? Why are you choosing to accept a crap cake? Why are you choosing to accept that? Let's go ahead and get to these comments. Maika says, let's go, people. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Appreciate you for stopping through. Sandra Williamson says, who is this singer? Which one? Which song? The first one? The first one, you gotta let me know. You gotta let me know which one in there. That way I can tell you. Time says J Red and Time always coming through with the positivity. J Red and family, no weapons formed against us shall prosper. Trust no one but God and yourself. Health is wealth and your body is your true temple. Salute to Time, always coming through with the positivity. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. LJ says, yeah, that's right. LJ says, black culture equals black music equals bad programming. That's all it is. That's the icing on the cake. Hey, you're right. You're right, because at the end of the day, we have to all of these things play a part in culture, and that's what people just don't seem to understand, is that the music, like, okay, let me just tell you where I stand on this, right? People love to say that, oh, it's the music's fault. Oh, it's what they're putting forward. It's what they're pushing. I don't believe. As someone, let me give you a little bit of backstory. I have digital marketing. That's my field, right? so so digital marketing, right? Marketing is not about pushing. It's about pushing what you want, but the goal is to make money, right? So if there isn't anything there, you can't market something that doesn't exist, right? So when they're trying to market what they're marketing in black culture, they're marketing what appeals to people and then putting it on 10, right? But they're not taking something out of nothing and just making it to where, oh, like you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, they're only promoting these promiscuous rappers and stuff like that because they want to negatively impact the people in the community. No, they're promoting the trash that they are because the trash makes them money. They know that it's going to make them money. That's what people don't understand. Like, all these things that they put in music, they putting it in music because it's a reflection of the culture, right? And then when they take that reflection of the culture, they sit there and then they say, they seem to be really resonating with that. Let's just take that and let's push that. So really, one of the solutions is if we change the way that we market ourselves as a community, then that in turn would affect what gets pushed to the community. If it was popular and if it was marketable to be a nice, wholesome family, just nice religious people, just, spiritual people, whatever you believe, but just decent people. If it was popular to be a decent person, then guess what? That is what they would be pushing. That's what they would be pushing. But the truth of the matter is, it's not popular. People like trash. People like garbage. And that's the truth of the matter. So this is a great comment because as long as we continue to push this trash music and the way that it is now, guess what? Things are never going to change. They're never going to change. It's consistent programming. From the music to the media to the things we see on TV, it's constant programming. And guess what? Who's it really being targeted towards? It's not being targeted towards the adults. It's being targeted towards the youth. So now the youth are influenced by the media that they see, while meanwhile the adults are doing the crap. The people are taking the inspiration from what people are doing, and then they're putting it in the media, and then that media is in turn influencing the younger people who already got to see it then, but now it's glorified or glamorized. That's crazy to me. But this is a great comment. Thank you, LJ. But I just want to look at this. Like, I know I've been riding the Fanny train, but guess what? She's just, like I said before, she's just such a great example of the worst aspects of black culture. She's just a great example of it. Let's see. What happened? Yeah, she's just a great example. So let's look at this because, as I said before, it's not just about the fact that Fanny did what she did and that she behaves the way she behaves. It's also a reflection on the people because the people, the community's reaction and their behavior regarding Fanny, they're also what is a reflection of black culture. And that's the truth.
Fulton County judge's warning of his possible gag order against DA Fani Willis following remarks she made at a church in January about the election interference case against former President Donald Trump. 11 Alive's Erica Murphy is taking a closer look at the judge's decision and Willis's remarks made at a Metro Atlanta church.
I was surprised that he admonished her for what she said at the church because it wasn't directly about these defendants.
Associate Professor John Acevedo, who teaches law at Emory University, says Judge Scott McAfee's criticism of comments Fulton County DA Fani Willis made at Big Bethel Church wasn't necessary, but he does admire the way the judge ruled. The judge ruling Willis could stay on the election interference case if special prosecutors.
Basically, for those of you that don't know, basically Fani Willis went to a church and she's been basically blabbering, doing too much, doing too much. That's essentially what it is. She's doing too much. And she basically has been going on this tirade, and this is another problem. That's why I say more proof, because the black church is allowing these politicians to use them in order to reach black folks. Do y'all remember the last time when we saw that the religious people were getting too involved with government and the politicians? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, these like a lot of these black mega churches, like these churches that are allowing, especially, like, it's crazy to me that a church would actually allow Fanny to get behind the pulpit. To get behind the pulpit and speak to the congregation. She did it twice. She did it once not too long ago too. But what they're talking about is instances where she was basically, quote unquote, well, I'll just say this. They were trying to get her, the charge was basically for basically speaking out in public about determining guilt, and how basically they were fighting for democracy, and they were this and they were that, and she just just talking and doing too much. That's essentially what it is. And so basically the judge really tore Fanny a new one. And this is why I don't like that people just trying to pretend that, like, that there wasn't anything going on. No, the judge tore Fanny a new one. He just gave her a break too. And that's really what it is. But he was constantly talking about how unprofessional she was. And one of the things that he mentioned, like this news thing says, that she was talking about the defendants in the case to the public. Think about it. What jury isn't going to be tainted when you have somebody that's in the position that she's in, going to the churches, influencing people already? So, I mean, for people that think that it doesn't matter, it absolutely does. What she did was just crazy. And the fact that, like I said, the fact that the black community is so willing to excuse her bad behavior is just another testament of why I say that the culture is trash, because they embrace the worst of us. They literally embrace and celebrate the worst of us. And then they just openly just rebuke and mock the people that want to stand for something. They got so much smoke for the people that want to stand for something positive, that aren't with the rah-rah that aren't with the, with the BS. Like, come on. Like I said, it's a great case study. It's a great case study.
Nathan Wade stepped down after defense attorneys alleged Willis and Wade were romantically involved and had financially benefited from Willis's appointing Wade to the case.
I think the decision really reflects his desire to end distractions in this case.
Parishioner Keith Burnett agrees McAfee's decision to allow Willis to remain was fair.
I felt like his decision was spot on.
That's the church. Big Bethel. That's the church. This is the church that back.
Because the people on the other side made it a moral thing, and it wasn't a moral thing.
Willis was honored back in January as part of the church's annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration service, and used her time in the pulpit to address the congregation about the hearing and challenges she's faced both personally and professionally.
I appointed 3 special counsel, as is my right to do, paid them all the same hourly rate. They only attacked one.
Burnett was there the day Willis's speech was delivered and says he was moved by it.
The fact is, she talked about demons. She talked about darkness, and she talked about the fact that she's doing her job, and she did everything she could in her power to pick the right people.
In his ruling, the judge wrote that Willis's comments at the church about the case were legally improper and warned of a potential gag order against her in the future. Hours after the judge issued his ruling Friday, giving Willis
I think a gag order would be very appropriate. I think she deserves a gag order, but that's neither here nor there. I want to focus on that guy. Like, do you see like? Let's see if it'll let me get back on him.
the choice to stay on the case if Wade stepped down.
But basically, what I wanted to look at that video to highlight is like look at the people. Look at the people who are supporting her. Look at the people that ignore the bad behavior. This woman was literally having an affair with a married man. With a married man. And I know that people like to say, oh, yeah, they were separated. They were. No. You're married, you're single. Black and white. Black and white, okay? She was having an affair with a married man. But yet and still, the black church is still like, someone like her is still allowed to speak, right? That's what, no standards. And that's what it is. That's what we're actually looking at right now. We're talking about as a community, there are no standards. We're talking about as a community, there is no structure. There are no rules, no code of ethics, no set upon, agreed upon. See, people always wanna talk about their leaders and all that kind of stuff, and they always want to go and meet together, and they always want to have stupid conversations about reparations and all these laws and stuff like that that's supposedly supposed to help people. Why don't black leaders, the people that are in charge, the people that actually claim that they want something for the black community, why aren't they getting together to get a code of ethics to hold the whole Pookie accountable? Why isn't there a code of ethics to hold all these people that are doing these egregious things in the black community from black person to black person? Not white people doing it. These are black people doing it to other people, to other black people, to black people that look like them. Y'all remember the 10 Commandments? God gave the 10 Commandments so that the Israelites had a basis to operate out of. Just the very basics. We know that there were more laws than just what was on the 10 Commandments, but that was just the bare minimum. These encompass everything. You abide by these, or you can't abide by these, then you ain't rocking. Where's the 10 Commandments for the black community? Why aren't these leaders getting together to get a code that says that, we have to hold black people accountable too, so that when we do go and make these arguments to other people, then guess what? To other cultures, then maybe they can take us more seriously because we really got our stuff together. But there is no 10 Commandments for the black community. There is no code of ethics for the black community. There's American laws, but blacks are insistent on separating themselves and distinguishing themselves, right? So guess what? Why don't we actually have a code of ethics, a moral code, something on paper to actually live by and hold people accountable to? Because at the end of the day, everybody is just free falling. There's been a debate on here, just so you know, basically where there's someone, shout out to B Fry. He believes that morality is under your blackness. Your blackness trumps morality, right? So There's no stand. Like, if that's what you believe, if you don't have a code of moral ethics that governs how you behave, if you so-called call yourself black, then or you want to be governed by blackness, no. Do you understand how confusing and how chaotic it can be if everybody has their own individual code of ethics? Everybody has their own individual standards. Yes, everybody's going to have their own standards. That's not what I'm saying. But there needs to be a baseline for people within communities. Look, people in America have a baseline, but if you're not gonna operate by that, then you at least need to get your own code of ethics that make sense, that actually are productive. But guess what? Nobody's holding Pookie accountable. Nobody's holding the people that are doing things that make black people look bad. They not holding Pookie accountable. They not holding Keisha accountable. They not holding any of these people that are doing things to make the black community look bad. But then you want to go talk about reparations. Then you want to talk about being treated fairly. You want to talk about oppression. You're oppressing yourself. You're oppressing yourself because that's what it is. And that's why I've said before that black culture is a hyena culture. That's how hyenas operate. Chaos. Chaotic. It's chaotic. And then you look at it, then you got people like Ty Tribbett, right? Ty Tribbett, like he goes out publicly talking about the church is whack. You know what I mean? Like the guys not in the church and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, you know how many people that are gonna take that kind of stuff out of context? But what can you say when there is no standard? There is no standard. Even the church is no longer a moral standard. Do y'all remember back in a time where people at least used to have respect for the church? Whether you were a member, whether you were going or not, you still at least had some type of respect for the church. We're not in those days anymore.
Try Airwick.
Sorry about that. But we're not in those days anymore. And things like it's just really unfortunate. It's just really unfortunate. I mean, it's just really sad to see. It's just really sad to see because at the end of the day, as long as we keep going down the direction that we're going, things are gonna keep going and they're gonna keep snowballing, and eventually the black community is just gonna be a husk of what it used to be. We're already damn near there anyway. Oh, hey, what's going on, Queenie? Hope all is well. She says, serious black culture needs to be under reconstruction stone, reconstructed stone with our school system. This black culture needs reconstructed stone with our school system. Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit? I don't want to actually misunderstand what you're saying, but yeah, before I comment, I don't want to misunderstand, but can you elaborate a little bit? Appreciate your comment, by the way. Everybody tuned in, just so you know, I appreciate you and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Seriously. Appreciate. Queenie says started with our school. Um, I agree. Yeah, I agree because when you think about it, it's like the education. Okay, so I'm gonna say why I agree, and then you let me know if you were like in the realm of what I'm talking about too. Because I do agree that education is a big part. I personally think it starts with the family because that's the first education that you get, but then right after that is like the school. You know what I mean? And so when you look at like cultural programming, I feel like school is actually the biggest influence. Like if that makes sense. So because at the end of the like how you grow up at home is gonna be a foundation. But I feel like young people are much more influenced by the things that they experience at school and the things that they endure at school. So, for instance, if you're in a school with a bunch of people that where the culture is to be overachievers, or you know what I mean, you're more likely to be you're more likely to grow up in a culture of being an overachiever. But if you're in a school where one they're te- they you see people around you yeah, where you see people around you that don't care about anything, and all they care about every going to school is just popularity, or it's just a social activity, and going to school is just about it's just they just going there as a social activity. It's just a hangout spot. Then of course you're gonna grow up in that mentality, and people that aren't within that, they're gonna be ostracized. So it's not gonna be the norm, and that's kind of how it is in a lot of predominantly black schools in my experience, in my personal experience. One thing, I started out in private school when I was real young, and things like racism and like differentiate like things like differentiating between race and stuff like that, I was aware of it, but I wasn't aware of it, if that makes sense. So it was always like, oh yeah, that person is just white, oh yeah, I'm black, but whatever. But I've noticed, and this might sound bad, but I've noticed that the blacker the schools that I've gotten are, usually the worst impact that it's had on my life. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth, and a lot of that has to do with schools. And contrary to popular belief, I don't believe that it's just because of resources. I don't believe that. I don't believe that it's just because of resources, but I think it's just the overall culture, or the idea that our culture has towards education anyway. We don't respect the intellectuals. We don't respect the people that are overachievers. We don't respect the people that are smart. We look down on them as a culture. So, I mean, hopefully I'm in the ballpark. Sorry for ranting, by the way. Queenie says, right. Queenie says, this generation don't have any after school programs. Yeah, that's true. I mean, and the ones that they have, I mean, it's usually like sports or music or something like that. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I know like when I was in school, they had stuff like robotics and stuff like that. But I mean, the robotics team wasn't a lot of people. I mean, you know what I mean? So, eh, but I mean, the people that I know that did robotics, one of them went off to MIT on a full ride from St. Louis, Missouri, and you know what I mean. So, I mean, I think after school programs play a lot in encouraging people, to actually having after school programs that can lead people in directions where they can actually make some money. But then at the same time, you can't make people do it. That's the real problem, because when you look at it, it's like the going home club is a real thing. So I mean, it's people that it doesn't matter what opportunities you give them, they're still not gonna take it. But I do think, and that's unfortunate. And the reason why I say that's unfortunate because you would think that it wouldn't matter, right? Because I almost said that it really doesn't matter. But the truth is, it actually does matter because when you don't have people there to participate, they can't just keep these programs going with no participation, no funding. You know what I mean? So it's like you like the fact that people don't care about these things and the after school activities that are available and aren't willing to start their own that people do care about. It's really bad. It really is bad. I mean, that's the truth. So this is a great comment. Thank you, Queenie, for your comments. By the way, I love your hair and your profile picture. It's dope. Queenie says, but it's a fact. Our culture is trash, and we need to go under reconstruction from the community to the schools. I agree. I agree. I think that the culture in itself just needs a complete reconstruction. Just breaking it down. That's the truth. It just needs to be broken down from the bottom up. Like just you know what I mean? Just it's just what I think. It's like you don't sit there and just keep trying to fix something if you see that it's fundamentally just going in a bad direction. Why not just just break it down at a fundamental level and start over. But the only thing that I would say about that is before we start over, we definitely need to, like I was saying earlier, we need to come together on some code of ethics or something. You know what I mean? Because there has to be something that we've proven incapable of just going wild on our own, right? And that's how we got to where we are, where everybody is so focused on individual self. See, me, I believe in promoting the individual, but I believe in promoting the individual in the context of not being a hindrance to society. You know what I mean? So the problem is, like I was saying, we don't have any universal standards. At least today. At one time, there may have been agreed upon, or I'm not gonna say may have been. There were standards that people live by, but I'm saying like in this modern black culture right now, today, there is no standards. It's a free for all basically, and it's basically the people that don't have any morals and standards. They're the ones that are basically making the most noise. They're the ones that are making the most noise, and they are a reflection upon the whole black community. And because a lot of people are either not willing to speak up about it, or they're complacent by acceptance. You know what I mean? So they basically they you know what I mean? Like they go along with it. They support, they laugh along with it, but they never gonna speak to Pookie about what he's doing. That's the culture. So of course that's why I tell people, like, people got mad. People got mad at people because they said that they don't like being around hood people, or they're afraid of hood people. But if the hood is upset or calling people anti-black because of that, maybe the hood should just change its representatives. Stop allowing the worst people to be the voice of the hood, the voice of the streets. That's just what it makes sense to me. Thank you for your comments, though, Queenie. Appreciate you. Um, Maika says, I say Gen X is a crucial to the issue. They keep demonizing us millennials for not doing their bidding, yet think that they are the ones who will make commands while doing no work. Yeah, I think Gen X is trash. I'm not gonna lie. But I stopped blaming Gen X because I realized that a lot of that actually came from the boomers. A lot of the boomers and a lot of these people that were promoting feminism, a lot of these people that were part of that whole free like those free eras, like people that were they just trying to fight for their rights. And the reason why I say that is because they were the ones where they were trying to break gender roles, and I'm not saying that all gender roles are like good, but I'm saying that the like the like I think that traditionally the traditional roles that we have established within American culture, I feel like fundamentally they work. Fundamentally they work. Could they be improved upon? Yes. But fundamentally they worked. And fundamentally, I think most people will understand that we need men that are in positions where they need to be able to protect and provide for women, right? Most people would agree with that. Most people would agree that women are better nurturers and that we need women. We need women because guess what? Women, like people don't really understand. Like a world without women would suck. We need women. Doesn't mean we can't like get on without them, but we need them because at the end of the day, what is life worth living? And also, the nurturing aspect is something that really can't be ignored because at the end of the day, like being able to mentally decompose and relax is the key to a long life. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let me not get to let me not get to rant. Maika says the only solution we're going to bring is dictatorial enforcement and absolute control. The black community doesn't want that, so let it sink. Mm. And that's the problem. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. But we definitely need that. I mean, do you, so Maika, do you think that we're at a point? So, cause I see what you're saying. I absolutely see what you're saying. And I think that you're right. And by the way, thanks for those likes, guys. I appreciate it. I see what you're saying. What you're saying is true. Because, but, hmm, that's a good point. That's a good point. The black community doesn't want that. They don't want that. That's the truth. They really don't want that. They really don't want that. They don't want that. But do you think that it might be possible that would be for the best of us? That would be better for us. Do you think that it would be better to well because on one hand, like I said, I stand more on the libertarian scale, but I have conservative values. So I'm a right leaning libertarian. That's the best way to describe me, right? Do you think that taking away people's and I'm just asking a question here. Do you think that taking away people's people's rights to bad behavior for the greater good is an acceptable solution? That's my question to you, Mike. I know that might be off of what you're saying, but I'm just curious. I'm trying to I like to challenge the way I think sometimes. So that's what I'm wondering. Naika says they don't want us millennials getting involved because they don't want actual order, organization, and leadership. um, yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, yeah, but okay. So let's play devil's advocate, right? Let's play devil's advocate because I'm a millennial too, right? I'm at the end. I'm at the end of it, but I'm a millennial too, right? So, do you think that do you think that it's possible that maybe us millennials have also or it's not so much that we contributed because when you look at the examples that we have from Gen X and per se, right? You know, we didn't have much to work with. And most millennials, like you could argue, you could definitely argue that millennials are doing a lot better than we should be doing on paper, right? But couldn't you also see? Wouldn't it also be fair to say that on the opposite end of the spectrum, we also embody some of the things that are also that are also, I guess, for lack of a better terms, the way it shouldn't be. For instance, like most of these, like when we look at these videos of you know, I mean, because I'm sure you've seen like the videos of the Kevin Samuels and the videos of people going back and forth with women and, you know, the modern woman thing, right? Would it not be fair to say that millennials probably embody some of those traits that would also, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, just to be objective, right? This is just a question, playing devil's advocate, because I see what you're saying, but you know, I'm just saying, like, would it not be fair to think that we also, if not, because we know that we didn't make that, right? We didn't make that, but we also demonstrated, per se, like the ideas of the fanny like women, the ideas of the strong, aggressive, you know, women, the weak men, you know, we call them soy boys, you know, like that. Like, would it not be fair? You know what I mean? I'm just asking. It's just a question. Let's see. Marcus Harrison says, "What up, Jay? I truly believe the black community. What's going on, Marcus? Thanks for stopping through. What up, Jay? I truly believe the black community needs a strong black church. Things like church discipline is very important. I agree with you. And you know what I mean? It's like, I don't believe in like dictating what people should choose to believe in, but once upon a time, there was a strong black backbone to the black community, and a lot of that pillar, that strong backbone was in a unit, like a general consensus that, okay, we have Christian values and we're gonna do this. So I 100% believe with you that it's necessary that there needs the church was supposed to be a pillar within the community, right? Is the church living up to that? That is the question that I have for you, Marcus Harrison, because that's debatable. Should it be, though? Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Maika says, at the decline of the black Americans' birth rates, some people are going to be left behind. That's their choice. That's absolutely true. That's all absolutely true. I always say Noah's Ark isn't for everybody. Maika says, when we did, then we all hit 30 and mostly moved on to something more important than arguing like a younger man. Good answer. Good. That's true. That's true, because I've noticed that too. Like, if you pay attention, the more people have the more people are aged, I've noticed that, that whole fight for social justice and all that kind of stuff starting to diminish, and more people are starting to focus on things like legacy and how to make the world actually better, as opposed to just looking for some cause to fight, or, you know, some imaginary enemy, you know. So I agree. I agree with you. Fair point. That's a fair point. Great response. Thanks for the comments too, by the way, Mike. Marcus Harrison says, because if we have a strong black church, Fanny would not be allowed to be in the pulpit. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Absolutely. Marcus Harrison says, no, the church isn't living up to that. We just want to hear about how I can prosper and not about my sin. And that's the actual truth. That's the actual truth. That's one of my complaints that I have with the black church right now, is that they're literally allowing politicians and these political figures to manipulate them into basically gathering up their congregation. You know what I mean? A lot of people that I've noticed, a lot of people in church, they don't actually have like their own free will. And I say this with love. I'm gonna say this with love because it's the truth. But whatever their pastor says, they go along to get along. They go along with it, right? So if their pastor endorses a political figure, then they're going to go along with what the pastor says, right? And a lot of these politicians are using that They're using that, and I say that with love because it's a little sheepish, but it is what it is, and I mean that. But like I said, I mean it with love. But they can't. It's hard for them to think to themselves, and I'm talking about American Christians right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying like the Black Americans right now. So when these politicians like Fanny get up in the pulpit and they speak to the congregation and they're talking to them and they're saying, oh, wow, you know, oh, they're doing me wrong and all this, you know, because they're going after the black man, they're doing this. And you know what I mean? She's influencing them. And I just don't believe that the black church should be allowing people like Fannie Willis to speak for them. Nor do I believe that it should be allowing people like Ty Tribbett to speak for them. Because at the end of the day, Ty Tribbett he's a gospel artist. He's a gospel artist getting up saying that the church is whack. How does that look for the church? But is he going to be held accountable for that? That's just my point on that. I mean, I think there was a video I saw that actually had a great position on that.
On the Breakfast Club, and I get what he was trying to say, but he made a statement that was very irresponsible on the wrong platform. He said the church is whack. How can you go on a national platform and totally throw under the bus the very institution that made you who you are? You, sir, had an opportunity to shine God's light, to push people back into the place of healing, but instead you wanted to feel cool. You could have been a light. You could have told people, man, falling in love with God was the best thing I've ever done, and I found the right church. Go find the right church. You don't know who's going to take that statement and walk away from a church that could have really impacted their lives. My church isn't perfect. There is no perfect church. Just like there's no perfect restaurant, there's no perfect radio show. Everybody falls short. I literally met you in church. Meeting you changed my life forever. The church is not whack. The church is a morning. I heard an interview from Ty Tribbett on the.
It's a system now. Oh God, it's a system. Everything is a system, and systems work with or without God. So I think the institution of church is whack. I think how church is ran is whack. I think the religious system and structure is whack. I don't subscribe to it, even though I grew up in it, I benefited from it, but I learned that God is not the church. And once I realized, whoa, God ain't church, that for me, you know what I mean? I ain't from the streets, I'm from the church. So that was a huge thing as well.
It's in the Bible, though. It says you can't even find God in a man-made temple.
Why don't we read that, though? How often do you hear that sermon? No, you hear people, pastors.
And I think that's
the church.
That's one of the dangers of listening, like having these conversations, especially like when these people say things like that. Like, you know, for these, you know, I'm not finna just, this ain't this ain't gonna be a Ty Tribbett show right now, but I'm gonna talk more about that. But Marcus Harrison says what Ty did was egregious. How you going to go to the world and dunk on the church, on the bride, basically. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, you a gospel artist, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't hold the church accountable for his things, but we have to be responsible for the things that we say. So to say that the church is whack is just whack. Okay, like, feel how you feel, but I'm just saying, like, people, you know, you have a responsibility when you have these, when you're in these positions. You know what I mean? You have a responsibility, and the truth of the matter is that, you know, it's just silly. It's just silly. It's silly. Marcus Harrison says, Lecrae too. We have an epidemic of weak men also in the church and outside the church. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. Maika says the feminization of black men is truly a crime against us. Everything that man said is word for word exactly what a woman would say. Um, Maika says that man was wrong, but instead of calling out the action, the man was insulting the artist's character. Um, okay, yeah, I think that was valid too. I think that's valid. I think that's valid. That is, yeah, okay. No, what Maika said, you're absolutely right. Okay, you're right. You're right. Let's go back and look at that real quick because you're right.
Ty Tribbett on the Breakfast Club, and I get what he was trying to say, but he made a statement that was very irresponsible on the wrong platform. He said the church is whack. How can you go on a national platform and totally throw under the bus the very institution that made you who you are? You, sir, had an opportunity to shine God's light, to push people back into the place of healing, but instead you wanted to feel cool. You could have been a light. You could have told people, man, falling in love with God was the best thing I've ever done, and I found the right church. Go find the right church. You don't know who's going to take that statement and walk away from a church that could have really impacted their lives. My church isn't perfect. There is no perfect church. Just like there's no perfect restaurant, there's no perfect radio show. Everybody falls short. I literally met you in church. Meeting you changed my life forever. The church is not whack. The church is a... And I heard an interview from...
Okay. So what Maika is saying is a valid point. Okay. Okay, it's a valid point. Because I'm a firm believer. I believe nah, I mean you're not off. I'm gonna be honest. You're not. You're not. um. Let's see. How do I say this? Attack always. The problem that I have with people, specifically when I talk about leftists, right, is that they always love to do this tactic, and this tactic is something that Maika just pointed out, and what that is instead of attacking the argument, you attack the person, right? That's why whenever you hear me talk about leftists, I'm always talking about a particular type, but what it is so. Because the reason why, because somebody told me about that clip, right? So I was like, okay, let me check it out. And I was like, okay, I hear him, whatever, like that. You know, I'm just so used to that type of behavior, particularly from church people, that it's like you just brush it aside. But what Maika said is actually right. He didn't actually address why what Ty Tribbett said was wrong, right? And that's something that we do constantly see. Instead of attacking the actual argument, we start going after the character and try to make people basically, you try to make yourself morally superior to the other person instead of talking about how the institution of church can be beneficial. Whether you agree or whether you disagree, you're right, Maika. That was a character attack. And to be honest, yes, you are. Like, it is something that a black woman would say. I mean, if I'm being objective, you're right. I don't agree with what like I said, I don't agree with what the artist said, but I'm objective, and what you said was actually absolutely correct, because at the end of the day, he didn't actually address what the artist said. And yeah, that was actually my first time listening to that clip all the way through. It was just something that I just saw and wanted to basically, I was using it to illustrate my point. And, you know, Maika pointed out another point that I would use to illustrate or that proves something else that I always say, and that the church, it's also that the church is trying to feminize men. The church, too. Like, the feminization of black men in the media, in the church, and all that kind of stuff, that's a serious issue. That's a serious issue in the black community. And when we look at these men, a lot of times they they frame their arguments with I feel like. They don't actually stand for anything or think anything. It's all about how they feel. And I just think that appeal to emotion, like that's for speeches. That's for speeches. It's not for debates on facts and debates on what it is. So, like I said, I don't want to make this about Ty Tribbett, but Maika, you're right. You are right. So, you're absolutely right, and that's just the truth. I don't think, yeah, and I don't think that we should be encouraging men to exhibit the behavior that women exhibit. You know what I mean? Women are women, and when you really look at it, when you listen to that clip, I mean, a lot of times we see that and it's associated with a particular group of people, and that's just the truth. That's just the truth, and I mean, it's sad. It's sad, but let's see real quick. Let's see. Yeah, but what do y'all think? What's some things that y'all think about the state of the black community? What are some other things that make the black community trash? I'm just wondering. Because like we could talk about just the lack of the family structure, all these things, but at the end of the day, damn, look what time it is. But at the end of the day, I want to keep these conversations going, and so I'm gonna have to go in a minute. But what I want to do is I want y'all to tune in to these live streams later, because I'm gonna be streaming later tonight, and I want to actually see if maybe if y'all are willing, we can try and see what like a call-in show would be like, or like y'all can come in and voice y'all opinions too, or disagree or agree with me. I mean, let's just actually I want to have a conversation, and I want to include y'all in the conversation too. Wish I didn't have to go to work. I'd keep it going, but I just, like I said, I just wanted to basically just share my thoughts, because what we have is just every day there's constantly more examples of why black culture is trash, and why black culture it needs to be deconstructed and recreated from the ground up. But how is that going to happen? What does that actually look like? Okay, bet. That'd be dope. It probably won't be too late. Depending on, I'm Central Standard Time, so I'm thinking like 7:30 ish. 7:30 Central Standard Time. Oh, but yeah, I definitely like I said, I definitely would like to hear y'all's opinions, because you guys thoughts actually matter. You know what I mean? That's the thing, and like I enjoy everybody that comes up, that contributes, they comments. You know what I mean? Because y'all really could be doing anything. You could be doing anything, but like you're here rocking out with me, and I genuinely appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate it. Okay. All right, bet. Okay, cool, Maika. Well, just like I said, I mean, hopefully that does work out. Hopefully. Let's see. Let's see, anything else? Nah. But yeah, I mean, on that note, like I said, I'm not gonna belabor the point anymore. This is a conversation like I'm gonna continue to have, because like I said, every day we get more examples of black culture, black culturing. So so on that note, I'm gonna continue to pose that question and think about it, and let's have a conversation. But on that note, until then, I am J Red Unfiltered, and I am signing out. Peace.